Welcome to AI-deas. This is a podcast channel under the Good Business Podcast, and we're hosted by the PHINMA-DLSU Center for Business and Society.
Our mission here is really about exploring business as a force for good.
Exactly. And this deep dive is actually an AI-generated discussion. We use Notebook LM to explore a really compelling piece of writing.
Yeah, I'll offer some fresh perspectives. Today we're digging into an insightful article from the Managing for Society column.
That's right, from the Manila Times.
And the article's title is Rethinking Political Opposition.
It's a fascinating look at, well, how underdogs can sometimes triumph, if you've ever wondered about that.
Right.
Or maybe how to navigate opposition and build consensus, in any setting.
And this is definitely for you.
It starts with this really unexpected political victory.
Right. The KiBam, Bam Aquino, and Kiko Pangilinan in the senatorial elections. The article points out, this is pretty striking, their initial poll numbers.
Really low, weren't they?
Yeah, Aquino wasn't even cracking the top 20, and Pangilinan was ranked 17th. Kind of dismal looking.
But then the actual results, completely different story.
Totally. Aquino finishes second, over 20 million votes, and Pangilinan gets 5th place.
Which, as the article notes, really flew in the face of, conventional political wisdom and all that expensive campaign machinery you usually see.
It makes you stop and think, how did that happen? And more broadly, how can we maybe rethink opposition?
Not just in politics, right? But within our own teams, our companies, our communities.
Precisely. And the article brings in this really important cultural concept to help explain it. Sakop.
Yes, sakop. The article connects it to the work of Rolando Leonardo Mercado. It's that Filipino idea of group belonging.
That sense of who's in my group. And it creates these invisible but powerful tribal boundaries, as the article puts it.
And you see this everywhere in organizations, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Departmental silos, for instance. Marketing versus sales is a classic.
Or generational divides, different age groups in the workforce, or even different business units kind of competing against each other.
And each develops its own loyalties, its own language almost, definitely its own defenses, like little tribes within the bigger company.
So the article's insight here for leaders is maybe not to fight those loyalties head on, but to recognize them, maybe even harness the positive side, create a bigger sakop.
Exactly, like a shared identity around the company's mission or a really critical project. Frame things as chances for different tribes to bring their strengths together for a shared family goal.
Instead of just another top-down order.
Right. And understanding that sakop idea really helps explain the KiBam strategy the article describes. Aquino's approach, particularly.
His demeanor, right. Non-antagonistic, calm.
Yes. Very deliberate. The article stresses he consciously avoided directly attacking what it calls the Duterte sakop.
Which seems counterintuitive in politics. Usually you go after the opponent.
But thinking about sakop, it makes sense. Launching attacks probably would have just made that group dig in their heels, triggered those defenses we talked about.
So by being more measured, he allowed people, maybe even those aligned with Duterte, to actually listen without feeling attacked.
That seems to be the idea. Their message could be heard on its own merits, without that immediate defensive wall going up. It was pretty clever, strategically.
And they also sidestepped some of the really polarizing stuff.
Right. Kept the focus away from the really hot-button issues, which let their core message get through to more people who might have tuned out otherwise.
Finding that common ground underneath the noise.
Exactly. And the parallel for leaders and organizations is quite stark, isn't it?
Yeah. How many change initiatives sort of crash and burn because people feel criticized?
They see it as an attack on their team, their way of doing things, their sakop, instead of an invitation to improve together.
It's a tricky balance, which brings up another point the article makes about Filipino culture.
The double-edged sword idea.
Yeah. How the same values that create these factions, these sakop groups, can also lead to bayanihan.
That amazing spirit of collective action, working together for something bigger.
But navigating that requires care. The article says the challenge is broadening the definition of sakop.
Making the group bigger, basically. How do you get people to feel that shared purpose beyond just their immediate team?
And how does that tie into something like utang na loob, that sense of obligation? The article mentions it. How does a leader build that positive kind of obligation? Is it just good pay?
Well, the article seems to suggest it's deeper than just benefits. It's about showing genuine care, real opportunities for growth, recognizing people meaningfully.
Not just cash, but acknowledgement, investment.
Right. And the KiBam campaign seemed to tap into something similar by focusing on these really fundamental issues.
The wicked problems, the article calls them, education and food security.
Yeah, wicked, because they cut across the usual divides. They affect almost everyone.
And Aquino had his track record with free education, Pangilinan with agriculture. It wasn't just talk.
Exactly. It was tangible, real service, which the article links to that genuine utang na loob, owing someone because they actually helped you, not just because they promised something.
So for leaders, the takeaway is maybe focusing on those core things that unite people, like safety, fair pay, real development opportunities.
Things that bridge the sakop divides, because they matter to everyone on a basic level.
And the article also highlights their strategic discipline in what they talked about.
Oh yeah, deliberately avoiding those really divisive hot-button topics.
The article lists things like the Duterte arrests, the Marcos Duterte feud, impeachment proceedings, all that stuff dominating the headlines.
By staying out of those fights, they weren't easily pigeonholed. They kept their message accessible.
Which is a lesson for any organization dealing with, lots of different stakeholders. Focus on the unifying stuff.
It really leads to this core idea in the article about redefining opposition itself.
Right. Moving beyond just criticizing, just resisting, just saying what you're against.
Which is often the default mode, isn't it?
Yeah.
The KiTARA approach, as presented, was more about proposing, building, offering solutions.
A different posture entirely.
And think about that in a company. How do you push for change without making enemies? How do you challenge the status quo respectfully?
It's tough.
The article suggests maybe positioning yourself as a problem solver. You're not just pointing out flaws, you're bringing concrete solutions that consider different viewpoints.
Shifting from critic to contributor makes sense.
And the article also notes the energy around the campaign, especially from young people.
The youth volunteer movement, yeah. That was significant.
It suggests that when your advocacy feels authentic, when it's grounded in real solutions to problems people actually care about, it can spark genuine grassroots energy.
Something top-down orders rarely achieve.
Right. It points to the power of a truly shared vision. And the article sort of wraps up by wondering if maybe these election results hinted at something bigger.
Like a readiness for a more mature kind of leadership in the Philippines.
Yeah, leadership that gets the cultural nuances, respects the values like sakop, but also works actively to transcend the divisions, to build bridges.
And then there's that final, really provocative thought the article leaves us with.
The one about transcending opposition itself.
Exactly. What if the best way to oppose is to, stop opposing in the traditional sense?
And instead, focus so intensely on finding and building solutions that those old tribal lines just fade. They lose their power, lose their relevance.
That's a powerful idea to chew on, not just for politics, but for any complex situation with different viewpoints.
Definitely. The KiBam story, through the lens of this Manila Times article, it really gives us a lot to think about regarding strategy, cultural awareness, and focusing on solutions over conflict. These lessons feel very applicable beyond politics.
So, thinking about everything we've just dug into, from rethinking political opposition, how might you apply some of these ideas, to challenges maybe you're facing in your own work or your community?
It's worth considering.
We hope this exploration sparked maybe some aha moments for you, offered a fresh way to look at navigating tricky situations.
Thanks for joining us on AI-deas.
Yes, thank you. We're part of the Good Business podcast from the PHINMA-DLSU Center for Business and Society, always exploring business as a force for good. We encourage you to keep thinking about these concepts and how they might help create positive change.